You've talked about John Cena being such a big influence of you becoming a pro wrestler. So just wanted you to elaborate a bit on that. What all you have drawn from Cena, the on screen, off screen, in career so far. I mean, the kind of influence that he has had on you.
Man, when I start back from the very beginning, at 8 years old, I seen John Cena on TV, and I was inspired and I was motivated, and even through the years, seeing his attitude and how he carried himself, it was very inspiring. But I think as I've climbed the ladder and all those years that I put in the work for myself, and there's people that say, "Oh, he's the next John Cena." At some point, I think it became where I didn't want to hear that. And the reason why is because you see yourself doing all the work and all the time that it took for you to get here. And it's not, man, Austin Theory is going to be a huge star. It's, oh, he's going to be the next John Cena. And to me, I want my own legacy built. And that's exactly what this is about. This is about me going into WrestleMania 39, not being a ripoff John Cena, not doing things like John Cena, saying things like John Cena. This is Austin Theory, original, 100% him, and that's inevitable. I belong here. This was going to happen regardless. So that's kind of where I get with that. I get a little carried away now talking about John Cena and talking about how he motivated me, because now that motivation is really turned into just a lot of fuel for myself to know truly who I am and what I want, and that I don't want to be compared to anybody, and I want to be in my own lane and be known as just the only Austin Theory.
Just talk to me about the emotions you went through when this was proposed to you, or how did it, come to a fruition like this?
Man, it's one of those things where it is pretty crazy to wrap your head around, because, as a kid, having the John Cena figures, having the John Cena posters, the big cardboard cutout, having the chain gang necklace, and being that kid that was so inspired by him, and now having that match against him at WrestleMania. And this was a match that, who would have thought it would have happened, because we never know when it's John Cena's last match, and I'm pretty sure this is going to be his last match. But, it's one of those things where it is just crazy. That's the word that really just comes to mind, because, at 8 years old, this kid that walked out of, a little wrestling show that had a poster of John Cena on it is going to face him at WrestleMania. Not just any show, WrestleMania. Man.
I'll go a bit back to your NXT days, and from a character standpoint, when you came into WWE, even during your runs in the previous promotions, there was always that serious guy persona for you, a blue chip prospect focus, being a best wrestler. But your storyline with Johnny Gargano, the way changed that a bit. I mean, the new layered character, goofy one, it was quite entertaining as well. Wanted to understand the backstory of that, particular storyline. Was it something that you're told to do? How much of creative input was, there from your part, developing that particular character?
Yeah, I was just in a situation in NXT, and especially, coming from the independent scene where, you're really good in the ring and you can, hit these cool moves and do all this kind of stuff. But really that personality is what I was trying to find, and that's what I was lacking. So there was a period in NXT where I was doing, like you said, the kind of same thing as the independents, of being a blue chip prospect and just being great in the ring. And honestly, that only goes so far. So it came to a point where I found out there was an idea for me to be a bodyguard, pretty much for Johnny Gargano and Candice. And this was going to be something where me and Indy Hartwell were both just going to be bodyguards for them. But it kind of became this thing where, I wanted to try something. The first thing we ever did was a Christmas episode. And this was where, I was like, hey, I just want to try something out. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But that thing I wanted to try was a little bit of who I really am. And that is somebody that's very, just likes to have a good time, make people laugh and be goofy. But I was like, in order for this to work, I need to do that. But I've got to really, really turn it up. And I've got to be goofy, just be like the funny son. And it pretty much worked, and it flowed us all into this thing where Johnny was like the dad, Candace was like the mom, Indy was like the daughter with, you know, the hopeless romantic with all her stuff going on with Dexter. And then there's me, that's just like the goofy son, you know. And that's kind of how we got there with that. And then as you can see now, the evolution of where I've gone, being on the main roster, you got to grow up, you know. At NXT, I had my family, I had a good time, but things have changed because now it's time to really grow up, and I got to really go out there and I got to show the world why I'm a WWE superstar.
Great, great, great. And also another thing, WWE has a huge, fan following here in India, and it's a very, very vocal fan base as well. So I just wanted to know, how have you have had any interactions, in terms of Indian fans on social media, anything memorable or anything that you have in your back of your mind, anything of that sort?
Yeah, there is a word, and I think it does it mean brother? Is it Baji?
In a way, yeah, colloquial language, yes, bhai, bhaijan, there are quite a variations of that, yeah.
Yeah, man. I remember one time I posted something, and I commented, and I think it was when I was riding on the road with Veer Mahan, and
Yeah.
yeah, I posted it, and I got a lot of responses, like positive responses from fans in India, by just using that word, and I thought that was really cool. But you know, we even know it over here that India has the biggest, support for the WWE. It's a huge WWE universe out there. And honestly, man, I can't wait to come out there and let them see Mr. All Day, the forever champ, Austin Theory.
Fantastic. We'll like to see you here also perform in real life. Thank you.
Of course.